Welcome back to FNB Field. We're here for game number 2. The Knights were victorious in game number 1. 7-3. Now Colton Zerbe toes the rubber and gets the first pick strike to Nauman. Nauman pitched in the first game, did take the loss after Dalton Kohler went the distance and was named the Nightly News Player of the Game. Knights now go to 13-11, while Williamson drops to 15-7. Again, this is game 1 of a 6-game homestand, including 2 games today, 2 games Friday, and 2 games at East Penn High School on Sunday.
And Nauman really pitched pretty well in that first game. He had 2 innings that the Knights got to him.
Steve and I were saying that first game, even with the delayed start, clocked in at under 2 hours. And nice pitch there by Zerbe, and strikes out the first batter with the fastball out of the zone.
So if you're going to come out and join us for game 2, you might want to get out here pretty soon, because if it goes as fast as the first game, we'll be out of here before 6 o'clock.
Some interesting defensive changes here. Not only is Kevon Davis at DH and Park behind the plate, we're also seeing, and this is, again, I've not seen this yet, but Cam Smiley at short, batting in the 9-hole. David Thomas in left. Still have Montero and Kaufman as we did game 1. And otherwise than Smiley, the infield stays the same with McCoy, Zell, and Boyer. So interesting to see how Smiley is able to transition to the field. I've yet to see him play the field. I've only seen him pitch and catch this season. And Zerbe looks good thus far. Quickly a ball and 2 strikes on Illing.
Well, Smiley certainly has the arm to be able to play shortstop. We've seen a strong arm from him pitching and catching. Threw out that base runner in the first inning, which was really a big out at the time.
And you know, Steve, you mentioned this in the last game too, but the 2 defensive plays essentially set the tone for the rest of the game, because if that first inning gets out of hand, who knows how the rest of the game unfolds.
Absolutely, and as I said, Central Penn only had 2 innings really where they scored at 3 runs and 4 runs, so...
Quickly, 2 strikeouts from Zerbe. Well, let's take a look at Zerbe this year. So Zerbe, 3rd on the Knights coming into this contest in innings with 18.2. And he has struck out 24 in those 18.2 innings, has allowed 13 earned runs for a 6.27 ERA. He has a win, a loss, and a save in 6 contests. This is his 4th start of the year. Grande stepping in after the first 2 batters struck out. And again, if you're just joining us, our apologies on the camera. If it does move, it's because of wind gusts, so we do apologize about that. And that's just going to get just over into left field. Thomas comes up with it, but Grande will get in there with a single.
Yeah, good effort by Thomas there. Almost came up with that on the dive. And he kept it in front of him, so he held him at first base.
So big victory here in the first game. Can the Knights pull the doubleheader sweep? It would certainly go a long way to their ESAC championship bid. Big strike there. Zerbe has looked excellent so far. This is Kelly again, who ended the game with a line out. Big cut. Quickly 2 strikes. Zerbe has been extremely efficient with his pitching.
And Kirby out ahead of that just a little bit. So ahead of him 0-2, let's see if he can finish him off and end this first inning.
Spikes that one, and it gets away from Park. Grande will take second. Well, on the bright side, Steve, in a little while that sun will be behind the awning and we won't be subjected to sitting in the bright sunlight.
Sun is bright, and it had clouded up towards the latter part of game one, but those clouds seem to have dissipated again.
Runner in scoring position, but 2 strikes and 2 out. And he rings him up!
Big pitch.
Wonderful pitch, and Zerby strikes out the side while 1 base runner does reach. Zerby pitches around it. We're going to go to the bottom of the first inning. It is 0-0.
Staying active just got easier. For those striving to be more active, our athletic department has recently launched Sir Will's Rec Rentals, a new initiative that enables students to borrow sports equipment, sign out basketballs, volleyballs, and more to use in our outdoor rec areas. Stop by the underground to borrow equipment for up to 7 days and get your game on.
Fantastic. We'll take a short break. We'll be back here with you. Back here with you, Paul Miller and Steve Hassinger, live from FNB Field. Knights took the first game 7-3 against Williamson Trade, and here in game 2, Zerby struck out the side in the first inning, pitching around a base hit. And we take you to the bottom of the first. To a 0-0 contest. It's like Valente on the mound, and last season had an astronomical ERA of over 25.
Yeah, only pitched 4 innings last year. Don't know what he's been doing this year, but Knights have a chance here to hopefully get to him and get an early lead.
Quickly 2 balls, and I'll tell you, if there's one person you do not want to walk, it's Zell.
You're right, that walk turns into a double or a triple.
Quickly 3 balls on Zell.
Yeah, nothing real close to the strike zone so far.
Starting lineup today, Zell, Montero, Kaufman, Boyer, McCoy, Davis, Park, Thomas, and Smiley. Zell halfway out of the batter's box before he got the strike called on him. That runs the count to 3-1.
Yeah, he thought he had to walk, but it might have caught just the inside corner of the plate there.
And that one's low, and Zell doesn't even give a second take because he knew that was going to be a walk. So we'll keep an eye on Owen Zell over there at first base, and First base coach went up and said something to him. Probably you got the green light, if I had to guess.
Why not give him the green light in the first inning?
Pretty nice sized lead. And Zell goes on the first pitch. And a stand-up steal as Montero offered, and it's a good thing he didn't come into contact with it. They did get the strike call.
Yeah, the pitch was way outside, but he went after it.
So Zell quickly in scoring position. He's going again. And he is there. Back-to-back stolen bases from Owen Zell. And I'll tell you, if Williamson Trade doesn't keep their eye on the base runners, this could be a disaster quickly for them.
And that's exactly what we talked about, where a walk can turn into a triple.
And right at the third baseman there, Montero, a nice hard hit, but right at somebody. But fortunately, Zell was able to get back.
Yeah, heads up base running there by Owen, because that was really stung, but right at the third baseman. You definitely don't want to get picked off there with Kaufman and Boyer coming up.
Kaufman reached base 4 times in the first game, 3 for 3. Didn't make it around to score in the third inning, and that one's tattooed. That might have went in the bullpen area over there. Kaufman got all of that one just a little foul.
And the first baseman in on the grass, looking to come home if it's hit to him.
Just off the plate. One ball, one strike. Knights are trying to strike first. And low.
Good stop by the catcher, and we saw a few wild pitches there in the first game, so Owen's got to be alert down there in case it does get past the catcher.
And there's a shot by Kaufman. That will be a single.
No, it's going to be more than one.
Oh, he's going for 2.
Yeah, that's in the gap and all the way to the wall.
And he's not stopping. And he's
Gonna
going
be
to have to
close.
get down. And he got him at third. So Kaufman gets the double in the RBI. But gosh, that was a really close play. And Stern arguing his case, but nonetheless, Kaufman is out. But
Yeah, well hit ball there that got into the gap, and of course easy for Owen to score, but I thought Kaufman was going to have 3 there, and it was a close play at third.
well, I didn't, just from our perspective, Steve, it did not look like that ball had a chance to get to the wall, but somehow it did.
And that's because it was hit so hard. Because you're right, off the bat it looked like the left fielder would be able to cut it off, but it was hit so hard that it was past him quickly.
So 1-0 Knights pick up the early lead. Nobody on base, though, for Zach Boyer. And Boyer, I'd probably pitch around him, too.
But as you mentioned in game 1, the batter on deck has been hot, McCoy.
Catches the outside corner, does Vellante. 2 balls and 1 strike here with 2 down in the bottom of the first inning. Knights lead 1-0 after winning the first 7-3. And that's going to be right back up the box. I'd love to see what the exit velocity was on that one.
Yeah, hard hit ball right back up the center. And again, the Knights have done a good job today of just taking those pitches right back up the center. Of course, would have been a run if we hadn't had the runner thrown out at third, but probably with 1 out, worth taking that gamble. It was really close and took a really good throw to get him.
McCoy singled and had back-to-back sacrifice flies. So 1 for 1 with 2 driven in the first contest.
And Boyer hasn't stolen a lot, but he does have 6 stolen bases on the year. And with 2 out here, You wonder if he might be thinking about going.
Two down here in the bottom of the first. Knights did push a run across, and that's going to be a shot to center, but right at the Williamson Trade at Eiling. All right, we're going to go to the top of the second inning. I'm going to step away for a moment, so Steve will carry you through the top of the second. We'll be back in just a moment. Knights lead 1-0.
Student worker positions. Have you ever considered working on campus? Visit the financial aid office to learn about work-study opportunities for students. Positions are available across campus. The front desk, the learning center, athletics, and more. Students must have been enrolled for at least one full term and be in satisfactory academic standing. Contact the financial aid office for more information. And we will be right back at you for the top of the second. Looks like Brady Park took that one right off the mask. Rung his bell a little bit. Yeah, it looks like Brady's okay. Trainer's going to come out and take a look, just make sure. Everybody seems to be smiling out there, so that's probably a good sign. Let's take a little break here and we'll come.
Back here with you up in the field. Glad to be back here with you. Park took that foul tip reminiscent of a game earlier this season. Never like to see those foul tips, especially in the day and age of concern over concussion. One pitch until that happened. And that gets away from Park.
Then you come right back and you have a 60-footer in the dirt that you have to block. You don't have to because there's nobody on base, but you're going to try to anyway.
Marantino walked and was 0 for 2 in game 1. And there's a shot to center. Montero under it. And he will make the catch for 1 out. So a fly out there from Marantino.
Now batting, number 0, Patrick Jones.
So Patrick Jones did see some action in the first game. And that's going to be out of play. Down the first baseline, foul. Runs the count to 1-2. Knights now 13-11 on the season. And as we mentioned in the first game, their record for a number of wins still in play. Big strike there. And as we look at the rest of Central Penn's schedule, of course, I mentioned earlier today that the Knights do have several contests, not only ESAC contests, but two versus Williamson, 2 versus Christendom, 2 versus Manor, and then travel 2 on the road. They'll end the season with a 5-game road trip, 2 at Manor, 1 at Albright College, and then end the season with rival Bucks County in 2 games you know will count. And that is drilled to right out of the outstretched reach of Zell. And Jones with the single.
Nice job reaching out and just going to the opposite field with that for the single.
And again, you can see that wind picking up.
Now batting, number 13, Stephen Gualtieri.
Gualtieri, the DH in this contest. Gualtieri was 1 for 3 in the first game. He did single in the 6th, but was stranded. Also struck out and flew out. And just got a piece of that one, but does run the count to 0-2.
Yeah, scoreboard says no outs, but umpire just reminded us there is 1 out.
No balls, 2 strikes, 1 down here in the top of the second. And there goes the runner. And Park gets it down there. Unable to come up with a throw to throw out Jones.
Yeah, good jump by Jones there. Park didn't really have much of a chance to get him. 2 strikes on the batter now, so just bear down and let's get the batter.
The 1-2 just hangs on. Well, as I said, of course, come out. We'll talk a little bit more about community night here in just a minute, but keep in mind there is a Sunday afternoon game. It will not be broadcast by the Nightly News, unfortunately, because of it's a makeup date. But 2 games at East Penn High School this Sunday against ESAC Division foe Manor College, as Zerby strikes out Gualtieri. And those games are going to start at noon.
Now batting, number 12, Zachary Ladislaw.
So if you're familiar with East Penn High School for our basketball games, the baseball field is just around the back side of the gymnasium. Steve, I actually covered a game there back in 2020 when players from Enola took on players from Coach Stern's Twilight team, and it was some former Knights playing against some other Knights. So that was one of the few games during 2020 we actually got to cover as part of the Nightly News.
And in 2020, they were just delighted to be playing a game at that point.
And it was very strange because where you see behind the pitcher the second ump standing, that is where the home plate umpire was standing due to social distancing concerns.
Wow.
And there's a shot to right. Kaufman under it. Does make the catch. That will retire the side. We're going to go to the bottom of the second inning. Zerbe pitches around a base hit, but puts up a 0. 1-0 Knights.
Calling all gamers, Central Penn College was recently accepted into the National Association of Collegiate Esports. We are now a part of the association that boasts more than 130 schools and over 3,000 student athletes. If you have any interest in the Central Penn Gaming Club or the esports program, please reach out to club advisors Michael Pico or Donnie Lewis.
Now batting number 50, Kevon Davis.
And Kevon Davis steps in. Only hitting 143 on the season, Steve, but does have a 318 on base and has been much more selective over the past few games. We've seen him reach base, and there's a shot down the third baseline. He's going to be held at first. That hit ball was hit so hard, the outfielder came up with it pretty quickly, but a single to start her off here in the bottom of the second.
Kevon got off to a really slow start this year, and he was chasing pitches, as you mentioned. He's been much more selective. He's been drawing walks. He's been hitting the ball hard, and he's been mixing in some hits.
Number 28, Brady Park.
Park steps in. First time we've gotten to see him. He's hitting .429 on the season, 4 out of 16 with 3 RBI. So Park offensively, when he's had his opportunities, has done very well. He balked. They're going to call a balk and move Davis over to second base.
No pitch, no pitch.
That does not count as a ball. So back to a 0-0 count. And a runner in scoring position with nobody out. And the bunt. Park, great bunt put down. And does get the out, but the sacrifice bunt moves Davis over to third.
Is it third with 1 out now? So a fly ball to the outfield could certainly score the run. A lot of other ways that you can score. A wild pitch, ground ball to the middle infield at least. Looks like the first baseman's going to play in a little bit.
David Thomas hitting .370 on the year. No home runs, 14 RBIs, a 17 out of 46 with 5 doubles. Thomas also has a eye-popping .492 on base percentage. And frankly, the last time we were here, he reached 7 out of 8 times. And was our nightly news player of the game for game 2.
Can't do much better than that.
And there's a shot to deep left.
That's going to do more than score the run.
That is going to be out of here. David Thomas with the home run. The round tripper, his first on the season, puts the Knights up 3-0. And Steve, I got to be honest with you, I wish I would have been more excited off the bat, but I thought that was just a line drive to left field, but had enough distance to get over the fence in the cheap seats.
I thought it was going to hit the track or the wall, but that ball just carried, and the wind is helping a little bit, perhaps, to left field, blowing out of center field there to left a little bit. And, of course, he hit it down the line at the 325 mark. But nice to see the Knights jump out to a 3-0 lead here.
Home run from David Thomas. And that is what the doctor ordered to get us on the board here in the bottom of the second inning. Inside to Smiley. And Smiley did walk, but was 0 for 2 in the first game, but arguably made the game-saving double play. And here's going to be another tough play. Smiley booking down the line, but is made by third base for 2 down. But, yeah, like I mentioned, Smiley had an unbelievable defensive play, and I encourage you to go back to the tape of game 1 and check that out.
Yeah, bases were loaded at the time with a 7-3 game, and to our surprise, the batter attempted to bunt, but he popped it up. Smiley got out of the crouch in a hurry and made a great play just to catch it, but then not only did he catch it, but he had the wherewithal to make a snap throw to first and get the double play to get the Knights out of the inning.
Again, our apologies on the camera, the way that we have it connected here. Anytime there's a gust, it just plays havoc with it. So our apologies. We're trying to keep it as stationary as possible. Zell tried to bunt for a base hit with 2 outs, but did go foul. So that'll be 1 strike on Zell. Of course, Zell walked, stole 2 bases, and scored the first run of the game. Outside to Zell. And there's a shot to right, but right at the right fielder. So that will retire the side, but not before David Thomas's 2-run home run, knocking in Kevon Davis and extending the lead to 3-0. We're going to go to the top of the third. Knights lead 3-0.
The Nightly News Media Club at Central Penn College is looking for new members. Members have the opportunity to get hands-on experiences writing for our student publication, The Nightly News, being a part of the Nightly News podcast, and being a part of our sports live stream broadcast. Email Club Advisor Professor Paul Miller at paulmiller@centralpenn.edu.
Always looking for some new members, and always happy. We have some paid positions with the sport, our athletics. So shoot me an email. We'd love to have you. We're going to take a short break as Zerby warms up. Zerby fires and whiff by Kappa.
Now batting number 25, Samuel Kappa.
And Kappa last year hit .344, and I'd mentioned this earlier, led the team in steals last year with 14. He was 11 out of 32, 2 extra base hits, 2 walks, but 14 steals. So this is a guy at the bottom of the order we do not want to have on base. Low and in from Zerby. And there's a shot, and that's going to get down. And again, we got to pay close attention to Kappa at first because of his stolen base prowess.
Now batting number 33, Jacob Nauman.
And Nauman struck out in the first as part of the 1, 2, 3 strikeouts that Zerby had. Of course, we'll keep an eye on Kappa over there at first to see if he's running. I got to imagine down 3 runs with no one out, I probably wouldn't be running, but again, that's why I'm back here and not on the field.
There you go. Well, faking and then taking off.
I have no clue what that was about.
Oh, he's safe because the ball was dropped. He would have been out.
I really don't know what Kappa was thinking there. And again, to your point, that should have been an out, and hopefully that is not an out that the Knights come back to haunt them later.
Kind of looked like a delayed steal there. He started, and then he stopped, and then when Park got out of his crouch, he took off again.
As I think about it, Steve, it looked like he just kind of got caught in no man's land. It looked like he was taking, maybe it was a hit and run, and he was sort of trying to do that delayed steal like you'd mentioned, but then he realized he was halfway up the baseline and he was in no man's land, so he just went for it, and the Knights had the play mapped out perfectly. Zell just couldn't hold on to it.
And I think Brady was actually thinking about throwing back to first and get him going back, and then he took off to second.
3-0. Does get that first strike to Zerby. The pitch. And there's a shot to left, and that ball's carrying. And that's off the wall. That's going to bring in a run. And so that dropped ball at second does ultimately come back as Kappa comes around to score.
That ball is definitely carrying to left because, again, off the bat, I thought that ball was going to be caught, and it just kept carrying and carrying.
And looks like Stern is coming to the mound. We'll take a short break, and we'll be back here with you. Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger back here with you. Not entirely sure what happened to Zerby, but whatever happened on that double from Nauman, Zerby must have gotten injured because he came back and tried to take a few pitches and it was pulled immediately. And now Zach Hafner coming in. Of course, we've seen a lot of Hafner this year pitching in relief, and he has pitched brilliantly in the couple of times that we have seen him play. So we're looking for a big outing here from Hafner. Hafner on the season has appeared in 2 games, has pitched in 8 innings, and has allowed 6 earned runs, but has struck out 8. And if I recall correctly, a couple of those earned runs were kind of tough calls. And there's a shot that's going to be to left, and they're going to give him the hold sign. And now the ball gets past Park. And that costs the Knights a run. The throw from Thomas got away from him. And the single quickly turns into 3 bases.
Yeah, it cost him a run and the batter getting all the way around to third.
Now batting number 11, Cody
With
Grant.
nobody out.
So things, we started off wonderfully with Zerby striking out the side. And there's another base hit. Now Zell comes up with it. Great play by Owen Zell.
That's going to tie the game, but you're right. A great play by Owen to just smother that ball and get the out at first.
Well, I think at this juncture in the ball game, I think you're happy to trade a run for an out, especially with no outs in this inning. So Eiling scores, and the fielder's choice on Grande, finally an out. The first 3 batters have a single, a double, a single, and if all 3 come around to score, and now Zell appears to be injured.
Yeah, I think he just got the wind knocked out of him a little bit there when he dove for that ball, but
certainly had the wherewithal to come up with it.
he sends the trainer back to the dugout. And the trainer never came out to look at Colton, but he threw a couple pitches, and even though it seemed like he threw them pretty well, he couldn't continue in the game. So a tough spot for Hafner to come into because he wasn't warming up. He got as much time as he needed to be able to warm up, but you're not out there thinking that you're coming in the 3rd inning, and all of a sudden you are.
3-3 ball game. After a hot start from the Knights, 3 runs have come around after 3 consecutive base hits, and Zerby left the game with an apparent injury. On the bright side, though, Steve, possibly with only pitching 2 innings here, if he is ultimately okay, you would think he'd be good for these games this weekend, and I think that could be very important. But again, we don't want to speculate on injury, but that hopefully Zerby's okay, and hopefully he'll be able to take the bump at some point this weekend, even in relief. And Kelly walks. Three contest. Tie ball game here in the top of the 3rd inning. And looking back over to first, that was a close play over there by McCoy.
Yeah, good throw down there by Brady. I made that closer than I thought it was going to be.
Marantino flew out to center back in the 2nd. And quickly 2 strikes, and now Park takes another foul tip off the mask.
And Brady just puts his hands on his hips a little bit. You know, what is going on here? I mean, all catchers seem to take a beating back there, but Brady has really taken it more so than anybody this year, it seems like.
We'll stop. Does look like Park will stay in this contest. Stern asking nicely for a ground ball double play. Try to get out of this inning. And that is going to be out of play in right field. Did give chase, but ultimately ran out of real estate.
And with the tie game now and the way Brady's gotten beat up back there, you got to wonder if Williamson might try to get a little more aggressive on the base pass now.
And that's going to be right at Zell, and that's that ground ball that we're looking for. Smiley to first, a double play, and a huge play for the Knights.
And a good scoop at first base on that low throw.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be back here with you for the bottom of the third in this. Back here with you, Paul Miller and Steve Hassinger from FNB Field here on City Island. That last half inning, even though the Williamson trade did push across 3 runs, the 4-6-3 double play got us out. And guess what, Steve? We are now to the point where we don't have to deal with that sun anymore.
It's about going behind the roof.
4:45. We'll cool it off immensely, though, but now we're not as in much danger of sunburn.
It's all right. I've got a light jacket if I need it.
Did have a pitching change here. Unfortunately, on our roster list, we do not have number 44. So until we get a something from the PA announcer, I will not be quite sure who is pitching for Williamson.
A big smile on Montero's face there. He really had to work to get out of the way of that one.
Two balls, 1 strike. Way outside. Looked like something straight out of Major League.
From way inside to way outside. Montero's got to be standing up there now thinking, I'm not sure what's coming next.
The 3-1. Outside will walk Montero, and there's another guy who you do not want on the base paths.
If you're the Knights, you do want him on the base pass because he has speed and can turn that walk into a couple extra bases real quickly here. Just don't want to get thrown out, though, with Kaufman and Boyer coming up.
Ooh. He picks him off over at first, and that is a tough break for the Knights.
Now batting number 31, Gabe Kaufman.
Yeah, he was leaning a little bit there. Really looked like he was probably going to take off on the first pitch, and good throw over there by the pitcher.
Wow, over his head, my gosh.
That's got to make Gabe's heart beat a little faster.
And so I am on the Williamson Trade website, and they do not have a number 44 listed. So again, my apologies to number 44 from Williamson Trade. There is no information that I can find on their website.
They might have picked him up with their fab budget this weekend. Gets a strike there. He's ahead 1-2 now. Again, these batters just really have to be kind of loose in the batter's box there with two guys almost getting beamed here.
The 1-2. And what a beautiful pitch. It was not a 1-2. Now it's a 1-2. Kaufman doubled and drove in an RBI, was gunned down at third base. And there's a shot to short. Looks like a relatively routine play and a nice throw. And that will retire Kaufman on the 6-3. Which brings up Zach Boyer, who singled and was stranded back in the first. In this tie ball game, 3-3. Even though Hafner did allow some of the inherited runners to score, he definitely looked good and got that ground ball when he needed it.
Now batting number 14, Zach Boyer.
This is not a situation you want Boyer to come up with, no one on and 2 outs.
And I was just going to say, that's happened several times now today that Williamson has been able to get him up there with nobody on.
And there's a deep shot to right. This ball is way back, and it's off the top of the wall. He missed a home run by about 5 feet, Steve.
That ball I definitely thought was gone, but I think that shows you how that wind blowing from right to left probably held that one up where it helped the other balls.
100%.
That ball was crushed. I really thought for sure that that ball was in the bullpen. And I think Zach did too.
So McCoy, one of the hottest hitters for the Knights, in a spot with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, a base hit to the outfield should score a run. And again, that wind has just really picked up to about a sustained 10 to 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, the temperature's going up a degree to 70.
McCoy does take the strike for a 1-1 count. And I'm still just really surprised that that ball didn't get out of here. But to your point, that cut wind that was coming across definitely came into effect.
Had to knock it down a little bit.
Davis on deck, singled and scored back in the second. So getting a couple runners on base for him could be a good thing. And McCoy gets under that one. And that will retire the side, but not before an almost home run from Zach Boyer, but does leave him stranded in this game. As we go to the bottom of the top of the fourth is tied 3-3.
The Central Penn College app was designed with students in mind. The app brings the school to your fingertips and enables you to connect with the Central Penn community. Stay on top of your events, classes, and assignments with the building calendar function, and get notified of important dates, deadlines, and security announcements. Make friends, ask questions, and access campus resources at any time. Search Central Penn College in the App Store.
Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger back here with you. We are here in game 2 to a 3-3 tie ball game. Jones fouls it straight back, singled and stole a base back in the second inning. Colton Zerbe started this contest, was pulled due to a potential injury. Of course, we don't ever want to speculate back here. We don't get word from the dugout about injuries, but he was pulled. Hopefully nothing major. Hafner started off with 2 strikes. Just a little low. The one thing I will say about Hafner is he does not waste pitches. I mean, of course, it's a good thing to, maybe pitch outside the zone when you've got a 2-strike count. But I don't think Hafner believes in that. And Zell.
Tough play there.
And he gets him. What a play by Owen Zell.
Good job by Owen on the quick release there. That was a tough play. Slow hopper, and he fielded it between hops there and quickly got rid of it. Made a good throw to first. Big to get that first out.
Now batting, number 18, Christian Nas.
And Hafner tries to get that, and a good. They're going to say that he pulled him off the bag, and I don't think McCoy agrees with that. In fact, I would say that I disagree with that call. I'm just glad Hafner's okay because he took a little bit of a spill trying to field that ball. Really tough play for McCoy because he gave it his all there.
Coach Stern's asking the umpire in the field there to check with the home plate umpire to see if he pulled him, but...
I mean, we have a very good vantage point from here, and I did not see him pull off of the bag. Gualtieri was hitting in that spot in the lineup. Noss came in to replace him, the lefty. And I'm assuming Gualtieri was playing to match up against Zerbe, the lefty. And now that Hafner came in, they wanted to mix another lefty in there. And that ball just fouled back. Landislau flew out to center field back in the second. In the first contest was 0 for 3. So 0 for 4 on the day thus far.
Paul, really glad to see that foul tip go over Brady Park.
I'm sure he is too. And there's a ball straight back.
That is right at us. Oh!
And Finke came back and tried to make the play. Finke came back to make that play, and he fell straight back. We're going to take a short break here and see what's going on. We'll be back. Just to give an update, Finke is off the field at this point. Did smile when he got up. Does look to be in some pain, and will be coming out of this ball game. We're still under a break. We will be. All right, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger back here with you in his 3-3 ball game. Of course, we took that small pause because Hunter Finke down behind the plate trying to make an acrobatic catch. Unfortunately, was unable to make the catch and did leave this game due to an injury. Cam Smiley, one of 4 catchers. So Park already played and has been lifted. Finke has now been lifted. Hafner is another catcher, is on the mound. Smiley is really the last option for the Knights behind the dish.
Yeah, and I referenced Brady Park earlier in the inning, but of course you're right. He was out of the game, and Finke was in there.
And this is going to be to Zell, and that is going to retire the side. So an eventful inning for the Knights. They did get out of it, and Hafner pitched very well. So we're going to go to the bottom of the 4th inning with this game tied at 3.
Central Penn College Student Government Association is a voice for all students, those living on campus, those studying online, and those returning to continue their education. SGA is here to make your time at Central Penn College the best experience possible. You can contact SGA with any questions, comments, or concerns by emailing sga@centralpenn.edu.
Take a short break, and we'll be right back. Back here with you from FNB Field. Kevon Davis gets ready to step in.
Number 50, Kevon Davis.
And Davis singled and scored back in the 2nd, leading off the inning. So this gives him another opportunity to do so. And another single and bring him all the way around could be a boon for the Knights. Stuck in a 3-3 deadlock in a crucial ESAC conference game here at FNB Field just after 5 o'clock. 69 degrees, a sustained wind here of about 10 to 15 miles an hour, which has aided a David Thomas home run and robbed a Zach Boyer home run with the way that this wind is blowing out here today at FNB Field. It's called for the strike. Interested to see how the substitutions at catcher will impact the lineup, if Lowen will slide into that 7-hole or not. And that ball out of the reach of the catcher. And Davis stuck in a 2-1 count. Steve, I referenced that back in the 2nd inning, it was a similar situation in which Kevon came up with no out, no on, and was able to reach base and eventually ultimately come around and score on the David Thomas home run.
Yeah, he ripped that ball down the left field line. Be nice to see him start this inning off by getting on base here with the 3-1 count.
The 3-1, high and tight. Saw his life flash before his eyes on that one. And does get on base for the 2nd time today.
And Paul, I want to go back briefly and talk about that play that Finke was injured on. That was a foul ball that came back here. You and I had initially thought that it might actually come over the screen and come back to us. But as often happens with a foul ball like that, it made its way back toward home plate, and Finke overran it as a result and fell coming back and went down pretty hard on his face there. And this ground back here is not soft.
Unforgiving.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'll tell you the same. On the bright side, though, Steve, he did get up.
Yeah.
He did smile. Again, we can't rule out other injury, but it's always nice to see a player get up, make it off the field on their own power. And great bunt there by Lowen, who did come in. And the sack bunt is much better than a sack bunt. We'll give him credit for a single there.
Yeah, that was perfectly placed. You just couldn't go out and just lay it down any better between the pitcher and the first baseman there.
So where Lowen thought he was just bunting over Davis, ultimately gets a base hit.
First two batters on now in the fourth inning. Let's see if the Knights can turn this into something.
Well, and remember Thomas's last at-bat, he hit a round tripper. Looking for another bunt, but there it gets by the catcher. And the runners move over.
No bunt needed to move them over.
For David Thomas.
And Thomas looking to bring the Knights into a lead here in this contest with nobody out and 2 runners in scoring position. Remember that home run and 2 RBI back, and nice slider there.
Yeah, good pitch there.
The 2 RBI from Thomas in his first collegiate home run. I hope someone went out and got that ball for him.
Landed in the cheap seats out there.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere. And he tattoos that one, but just foul. Almost took out his teammate. One ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. Infield, at least the first baseman playing in, not quite on the grass, but certainly in. Basically, everybody is in slightly, looking for a play at the plate. Thomas, big hack, and they're going to get the out at first.
And with the runner at third, nice job by the first baseman there to come in to catch that throw and tag him out, making sure that the runner didn't come down the line at third. Of course, Kevon not real fleet of foot at third base.
But even so, I wouldn't imagine, unless you've got Usain Bolt out there, you're going to send someone home in that case.
Yeah.
One down. Just a hit to the outfield from Smiley could give the Knights a lead here. Zell on deck.
And we've seen our share of wild pitches today, so Kevon's got to be alert at third, watching for that as well.
That's coming straight back at us. And up in the second level above us. Wanted to give a shout out to the Harrisburg Senators. Of course, this is not our ball field. We play at FNB Field, the home of the Harrisburg Senators, and they have started off their season. I got to come out to opening day on a very chilly evening. We will be coming back to some more games. I'm coming back to a game in May and in June. And, of course, you can always go to senatorsbaseball.com for more information about their homestand and how you can come out and see Dylan Cruz and Robert Hassel and some future nationals here in your backyard at FNB Field. That's senatorsbaseball.com for more information about the Harrisburg Senators. Off the plate there, runs the count to 2-1. Smiley grounded out back in the second inning. And essentially is the last catcher outside of Zach Hafner, who's on the mound for the Knights.
Yeah, it's tough to pitch and catch at the same time.
And that gets away, and here comes Davis. Davis, he gets it. And the wild pitch scores Davis. Knights lead 4-3.
Just as I mentioned, Paul, we've seen our share of wild pitches today, or pass balls, so Kevon was alert, as we talked about, and he was able to score without the benefit of a hit.
And no slide. Didn't even need to slide.
No.
So that's what's different here, and I know you got to watch the game at In the Net, but In the Net, the backstop is literally like 5 feet behind the catcher. So if a ball does get away, it's almost impossible for runners to advance.
Right.
Here, that is most certainly not the case. There's probably a good, 15 feet.
At least. Yeah,
And the way it can carry them any different direction.
Yeah.
Time is called. They're going to get a pinch runner, a courtesy runner. I have to get better at saying courtesy runner because it's not necessarily a pinch runner. Catchers and pitchers, if they bat, are able to have a courtesy runner, and this is Nick Fulton running for him as Smiley walks. Only one down, and runners at first and third for Owen Zell, who is 0 for 1, but did walk and steal 2 bases. It's going to be outside, and Fulton took a big lead over there. Let's keep an eye on him. This is an MO of the Knights, with runners on first and third almost always going to be running, and especially with Fulton, the speedster, I would imagine he's going to go on this pitch, and there he goes. And he's in there standing.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, you have to wonder if they're going to throw through if he does go with the runner at third. The second baseman, Newman, came in there and fielded it between the pitcher and the second base bag because they didn't want the runner scoring from third. So now you have 2 in scoring position with just 1 out for Owen. And Owen's been hitting the ball hard today.
Big strike there. Two balls, 1 strike, 1 out. We are in the bottom of the 4th inning, just after 5 o'clock real time. No, not all of you are watching this in real time, which is okay. We're on demand. You can watch it at any time. And as I mentioned, I believe I mentioned this off air, Zach Hafner has sent me a lot of really nice emails telling me that he can't wait to show his future children our YouTube broadcasts. So on demand, and hopefully for your kids to watch down the road. And excellent play there from the backstop.
Good job by the catcher to prevent another run from scoring. Full count now with 1 out on Owen.
And Zell has really had an impressive season. Probably not as offensive as he would hope. He had, much higher average last year, but I'll tell you, 20 stolen bases, including 2 more today, brings him to 22 on the season. That's going to get away from him. And they did not send the runner. Surprise there that we didn't see Lowen going there.
Yeah, that ball did come off the backstop here harder than most of the other ones that we've seen. So it would have been a close play, but I thought, too, that they might send him. Bases loaded with 1 out, though, now for Montero. Tough guy to double up with anything on the ground because of his speed. And also because of those 2 different color shoes he wears.
Big slider. Jeff Randy did walk back into third, was picked off of first base. I'm sure he doesn't appreciate me bringing that up. And that fooled Montero. He pulled away like it was going to hit him, but the slider came back over the middle of the plate. Way outside.
Another good stop by the catcher there. The catchers have earned their pay today.
No kidding.
And of course, they're not getting paid, but they earn more than that.
They earn their stripes.
There you go.
And that gets away from him, and here comes Lowen. And Lowen is in there and scores, and the ball gets away again. Good thing that there was somebody there to back him up. Jones was there to pick up the ball, but another wild pitch.
Yeah, and that's a ball that it looked like the catcher had made a good play on again and had stopped, and it just kind of trickled between his legs and trickled away. Enough for Lowen to score.
The Knights get 2 runs here in the bottom of the 4th on 2 wild pitches from Williamson. And Montero, they're going to come home, and they got him. I mean, there's just not really a whole lot you can do there.
No, that's a good play. That's a good play to come home. Good play by the catcher. Put a good tag on him. First and third now with 2 out. You gotta think it's going to be second and third here with Montero.
Now batting number 31, Gabe Kaufman.
So Kaufman steps in, doubled and drove in a run back in the first, and grounded out in the third. And a base hit should score another run. And to your point, we're going to keep an eye on Montero here. And he's going on the first pitch. And that ball gets away from the catcher, and no throw. Montero redeems himself from getting picked off back in the third to now 2 runners in scoring position. And if Kaufman can reach here, this could drive in 2. Slider way off the plate. Quickly, 2 balls on Kaufman.
Tough spot for the pitcher here because you really hate to walk Kaufman with Boyer coming up, but Kaufman has been hitting the ball well too.
Kaufman with the .519 on base percentage and a .397 average. That's 23 hits and 58 at bats. Steve, 23 runs, 16 walks, 13 steals. So impressive from Kaufman. Oh my! Almost hit him. And honestly, easy for me to say, but I probably would have let that graze my jersey.
If it grazed your jersey, you're okay. If it hit you square in the forearm, you'd be in a little bit of pain.
Yes. And then gets him with the off-speed pitch. The slider right across to bring the count full. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on, in scoring position for Kaufman. What will he do here? Calls time, calls time. Don't see, certainly with the pace of play rules, but you don't see a lot of people stepping out.
No.
But I think that was a good call there.
Yeah, and you saw the umpires there say to reset the clock.
And that will walk him to load the bases for Zach Boyer. Boyer has got a single and a double and was just a couple feet away from a round tripper back in the third. Now, we just said about how Boyer kept coming up with no one on base. Well, guess what? Bases loaded. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th for Boyer.
Exactly what the doctor ordered.
And that one was way outside. And I mean, this is what Tanner McCoy really means to this team right now, and the way he's been playing to provide some protection for Boyer, so they're not just going to go walking him.
And if they do walk him here, it's a run for Central Penn.
Off the plate. And that's honestly one of the biggest improvements I've seen over Boyer this year is his selection. I mean, he is just locked in, laser focused on balls and strikes. Did take that one. Runs the count to 2-1.
All right, Zach's set here. 2-1 count.
And there's a shot. He tattooed that one down the first base line, but just out in front of that one. Now more of a pitcher's count here at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Really did drill that, and thankfully over everybody's head down there on the right field line.
Runs the count full, and this is really the ideal situation for Boyer, honestly.
We are going to see the merry-go-round start here with all 3 runners. Should be going on the pitch with 2 out and a full count.
And that ball is skied up. Got under it there. And unfortunately, that will retire the side. So Boyer leaves the bases loaded. But the Knights do push 2 runs across thanks to 2 wild pitches and now hold a 5-3 lead.
It's hard to study when you're hungry. The College Pantry can help. Central Penn College and your Student Government Association are committed to ensuring that all of our CPC Knights have access to food when they need it. Requests are kept anonymous and can be submitted online. Look for the link under the links section of Student Central or contact Lindsay Garber, Director of Housing and Residence Life at lindsaygarber@centralpenn.edu.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back here in the top of the 5th inning. Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger back here with you here in the top of the 5th inning. The Knights pushed 2 runs across on wild pitches from Williamson Trade. They're in the bottom of the 4th to take this 2-run lead, and Zach Hafner now waiting for the first base coach.
Batting number 33, Jacob Nauman.
Nauman steps in, did double and score back in the 3rd. And Hafner was a little agitated that it took the first base coach so long to get out there. Frankly, as well as he should have been.
And Paul, I have to tell you, what I like most about Hafner, besides his fastball, is the way he wears his pants.
Oh, old school.
Old school. Gotta love it.
Hafner it's so great because as somebody who's been doing this for the last few years, basically Hafner has been on this team as a senior as long as I can recall. And I want to say that he started in either 20 or 21. So it's been amazing to have him here. Such a great team player. Of course, is a catcher, but has been pitching out of the bullpen this year, and he's been a real solid contributor. We saw him pitch in relief at the last game that we were at, and there's a shot right up the middle for a base hit. Nauman reaches.
And Hafner did the natural reaction there of putting out the right hand when that ball went by him, but thankfully it was out of reach because you don't want to catch that with your bare hand.
Number 17, Joshua Illing.
So Illing steps in, singled and reached 3rd on 2 errors, and then ultimately scored back in the 3rd. And there's a shot. That'll be to Lowen. Does keep it in front of him. But that was a tough play in the hole. So first 2 batters reach base, and this is where we start to see the middle of the order here. So can Hafner pitch around some trouble?
Now batting number 11, Cody Grande.
Grande singled and had a fielder's choice back in the 3rd. So 1 for 1 today. Hafner is going to need to pitch around 2 singles here to start off the inning. Big cut from Grande, comes up empty.
Be a good place for another double play ball.
The 1-1 pitch. And you asked for it, you got it. Zell, Lowen, McCoy doesn't get him at first, but nonetheless does get an out. And Zell took another, I don't want to say a spill, but he's had some trouble getting his footing there on those double plays.
Yeah, his foot slid out from under him a little bit there. He couldn't get a lot on that throw, and the ball wasn't hit super hard, so it wasn't a great double play ball, but one that looked like they might be able to turn it, but batter beat it out at first.
So the 4-6 fielder's choice leaves Nauman at 3rd, Grande at 1st, and 1 out for Kelly, the cleanup hitter for Williamson. Big strike there. Kelly 0 for 1 here today, struck out in the 1st. Kelly also had a double and a walk in a 1 for 2 effort in game 1. So did have that extra base hit. And that is 8. Boyer up there at 3rd. That was a really tough play, but drives in a run nonetheless, and still only 1 out.
Yeah, Boyer was on that ball, but man, it just came up on him, and not much he could do there. Got to give the batter a hit on that.
Dylan Martino.
And that being said, it is now 5-4 with still only 1 out. And Marantino looking for the bunt, comes up empty there.
Got 1 out with the runners at 1st and 2nd.
3 singles thus far. Nauman scored. And the chop is going to be another tough play, and this could plate a run.
Well, oh man.
I am shocked there was no throw home there by Thomas.
Yeah, I thought he had a chance at him there with a good throw.
Now batting number 0, Patrick Jones.
Now we'll see Jones, as this game is now tied.
And he got the courtesy rudder at first.
And so the plot thickens. First and second, two really tough plays down there on third base for Boyer, who couldn't make them. And that one's going to be way out of play.
Yeah, and that last one was just chopped right over his head.
Oh, I certainly don't fault Mr. Boyer.
No.
Those were two extremely tough plays. But nonetheless, it's still a 5-5 game. And Smiley looking for the slider to catch part of that inside corner. Unfortunately, did not.
Yeah, he held that one there for a while, waiting for the umpire to call the strike, but he didn't get it.
And looking for another bunt. Can't get it to go.
He did offer it that one, so it's 1-2.
The 1-2. And there's a shot to Lowen. And he goes to Zell for one. I'm actually really surprised he didn't get the lead runner there. All of his momentum was going toward third, and Boyer was in the neighborhood. But regardless, the fielder's choice does bring us to 2 outs.
Yeah, and it's a good job by Lowen to be able to field that ball because the runner was right in line with the ball when it was hit. So it's hard to see the ball approaching.
2 outs. Runner goes. They'll fake. And they're going to concede second base. Now 2 runners in scoring position for Noss. Noss singled and struck out. 1 and 2 on the day, and no bigger at bat than right here. Stevak. Quickly 2 strikes. And I'll tell you, if Hafner can get out of this inning, well, I give him all the credit in the world. Death by 1,000 cuts here with 4 singles. Throws it low, but Smiley ends up hanging on there.
Yeah, good job by Smiley. Yeah, you're ahead 1-2 now. You don't want a pitch in the dirt here that would get away and give them a run. Not in the dirt, but extra high. Almost got by.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs for Hafner. And he struck him out. And what an inning for Hafner. While 4 hits did come and 2 runs, Hafner got out of a jam to keep his team in this game.
Central Penn students are invited to a virtual career fair through JA Inspire of Junior Achievement to explore careers and organizations. JA Inspire will be available to students until June 30th. Starting March 1st, you can register an account at jascpa.vfairs.com. This year, there are over 70 employers in the exhibit hall. Each booth includes a description of the company, videos, as well as job and internship openings. Other tools included in the career fair are webinars within the auditorium and career readiness activities within the activity lab. If you have questions about the career fair, contact Career Services at centralpenn.edu.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back here with you as this game is tied.
Now batting number 43, Tanner McCoy.
Back here with you, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger here at FNB Field. That wind has really picked up here in the second part of our game today. And after that 4-hit inning, 2-run inning, this game is now a competitive one at 5-5 as the clock strikes 5:30. McCoy 0 for 2 in this game.
You mentioned a lot of fives there, Paul. How about if we put up a 5 spot here?
Crooked number, that works for me. And McCoy has been on fire. He's been locked in, but right at the second baseman. So McCoy falls to 0-3 on the afternoon. Now Davis 1 for 1, but has scored 2 runs here on the afternoon. So let's see if Kevon
Now
can
batting
keep
number
it going.
50, Kevon Davis.
Walker scored his last time up.
Scored on that wild pitch. Ball is low. Just as an aside, and we will get there to Community Day here shortly, but I would recommend a sweatshirt because if it's going to be 63 and windy, it's going to get cool as soon as that sun goes down. So highly recommend a sweatshirt, though I will say there will be sweatshirts for sale.
There
So
you go.
bring your credit card.
Yeah, bring your credit card. No sweatshirt.
Got lots of fine Central Penn sweatshirts for sale this Friday night at Community Day. Outside runs the count to 3-0.
And we won't even charge you extra to use your credit card.
Three balls, no strikes, 1 down. And Davis, another walk, has now worked on base 3 times this afternoon. Looks like the pinch runner, Nick Joseph, is going to come in for Davis, representing the go-ahead run here. As Lowen singled and scored on a wild pitch back in the 4th. So I was looking to see
Having
Coach
problems
Stern.
locating Joseph.
I was going to say Coach Stern was looking for Joseph. And now Davis that's going to be it for Davis today. But Davis reached base 3 times, scored twice, a single and 2 walks and 2 runs. So congratulations to Kevon Davis for a great afternoon here.
Now batting number 7, Brian Lowen.
And Lowen will step in. Remember, he singled and scored as he came in a double switch when Finke left the game injured and Smiley moved over to catcher. And interestingly enough, Steve, we were talking about that. We wanted to get a look at Smiley at shortstop. Unfortunately, he only lasted out there for a couple of innings.
Yeah.
So Lowen and then Thomas.
I think Joseph was looking for that sliding glove. I think that's what the delay was there in him coming out.
Only one out here. And that is going to be a pop-up, but this is going to be a tough play. And it gets down. Just out of our camera view. 3 Williamson Trade players converged just off of the dirt on the first baseline there and came up empty. So that's a big break for the Knights, Steve.
I think that's probably the easiest play for the second baseman. Not that it was easy, but he had the best shot at it because the first baseman is going back there with it over his head. Right fielder had a long run to get in there, but it fell between the 3 of them.
And back to first base, checking on Joseph.
Lowen's got some new life there with that ball falling free, so let's see if he can take advantage of it.
Swings, but that ball gets away. And Williamson believes that the ball was tipped. Lowen disagrees, as do the umpires. So Joseph takes second base on the pass ball.
And I disagree as well because I don't think Lowen could reach that. That ball was way outside. Runner in scoring position now, though.
And there's a shot to left. Right at the left fielder. We're back into some of these hitting the ball right at people situations.
These Adam balls, yeah. Yeah, he was right on that and hit it hard, but right at the left fielder.
Quickly 2 outs, though still a runner in scoring position. Thomas hit that mammoth home run
Number 34, David Thomas.
back in the second and struck out in the fourth. A base hit here could turn the tide in this ball game with 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth. And that is going to be right along the first baseline. And he drops it right off of our camera. He had that ball. He was underneath it, and he dropped it. And who knows what impact that could have.
So talk about new life for the batter. That's exactly what he's got here.
And only 1 strike. That was the first pitch swinging was Thomas.
And that ball had to be caught, but Paul, I think we're seeing that increased wind a little bit when these high pop-ups playing some havoc.
What can Thomas do here? And there's a
Drive in
shot.
a run.
And that is going to potentially score a run. And here comes the throw to the plate. No slide. Thomas into second base with the heads-up play and keeps them in scoring position. The Knights take a 6-5 lead.
Clutch hit by Thomas there, and he did exactly what we were talking about, taking advantage of that dropped pop foul.
I mean, the bottom line is Williamson should be out of this inning.
Absolutely.
I mean, if it wasn't the first, it was the second.
Yeah, and we see the first baseman down there kind of squatting and having his head down, and he knows that they should have been out of it with a tie game. But instead, Central Penn takes the lead and has another runner in scoring position.
Joseph came around pinch running there for Davis, did score, and Thomas took second on the throw. Now Smiley and Steve, at worst case scenario, we're going to start the top of the sixth off with the top of the order. Smiley himself is 0 for 1, did walk and was thrown out at the plate after a steal back in the fourth. What a game here in game 2.
Yeah, a lot more offense in this game. 10 hits for Williamson and 7 for the for Central Penn.
In your defense, it does say Senators on the scoreboard.
It does when you're looking at the scoreboard.
Back up the box, and that's a relatively routine play. And Williamson Trade does get out of it, but not before the Knights regain the lead thanks to a David Thomas single. We're going to go to the top of the 6th inning. Knights lead 6-5.
The CPC Film Series returns for the spring term as Film Series correspondent Nick Hogan presents the classic Labyrinth on Friday, May 3rd. It will be held at the Capitol Blue Cross Theater with the doors opening at 6 p.m. Hogan will present on Jim Henson's Labyrinth, the classic 1986 film produced by George Lucas and starring David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly. It's about a 16-year-old who must solve a labyrinth to rescue her baby brother when he is taken by the Goblin King. Save the date for May 3rd. This event is open to the public and everybody is welcome.
In case this thing dies.
Back for the top of the sixth with the Knights leading 6-5.
Now batting number 12, Zachary Ladislaw.
Coach Stern got a little work at catcher there between innings since Smiley made the last out. Took him a while to get the catching gear back on. Coach Stern was able to warm up Hafner. One ball and one strike now to the leadoff hitter. That ball is ripped, but well fouled down the left field line. So, ball and 2 strikes. Paul, I'm a little disappointed with Hafner here. He's put the pant legs down.
It's getting a little chilly.
Maybe that's it.
Straight back behind us, and the carom. Good thing no one was up there because someone might have gotten taken out. We might have to talk to him about that. And he usually watches it in the broadcast. I'm sure he'll email us and let him know what the decision was to pull the pant legs down there. And there's a shot, but a relatively routine play there to Lowen. And throws him out as McCoy has the put out.
And as long as he gets 5 more outs without giving up a run, we'll be happy with however he wants to wear those pant legs.
You know, Steve, I don't know if we've ever had the chance to really talk about this, but what, other than just being a fan, I mean, did you play baseball back in the day, or did you play high school, anything else like that?
I played baseball, of course, a lot of pickup baseball, but I played up through teener leagues. But, you know, in high school,
Now batting
our
number
golf
25,
season and our
Andrew
baseball season were at the same time.
Okay.
And, you know, I was an avid golfer. And
still are, might add.
I still am. There's a base hit the center. So I played golf, and, you know, many times over the years, I kind of regretted that and wish I had played baseball because it's easy to play golf after
Now
school,
batting number
right?
33, Jacob Thomas.
But it's hard to play baseball, you know, unless you're playing on a Legion ball and things like that. So now, years later, they switched the golf season to the fall. So I could have played both.
Could have been a two-sport athlete.
And I was a 2-sport athlete, but it was basketball and golf.
See, I never knew you as a basketball player. I knew that you had some history with golf and baseball, but I never knew you played basketball.
I did play basketball,
Well,
too.
geez, we'll have to get you on the commentary for some basketball games. And Boyer's got a really good chance and makes that out of play just off camera there. Great play by Zach Boyer, and quickly 2 outs. Calling a basketball game, as I'm sure you can imagine, is an entirely different situation than this.
A little faster.
But I hope that I have some decent range, and those of you out there like to continue watching. But I digress. And there's a shot to center right at Montero, and not quite a 1-2-3 inning, but close enough. And Hafner cruises there in the top of the 6th. We're going to go to the bottom of the 6th. The Knights up by 1, coming up to add to it.
Yeah, let's see if the Knights can add on some insurance runs here because it's a 1-run game, and it would really be nice to head to the 7th with more than a 1-run lead here.
We'll take a Back here with you. Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger, as the Knights go to the bottom of the 6th inning, up by 1, and boy, would they love some insurance for Hafner. Hafner right now in line for the win. And as we lead things off, of course, when Zell led off back in the first, he walked, stole 2 bases, and scored. And there's a shot to center. This is going to be a really tough play. And falls in between 3 different people. And Zell takes a wide turn around first base, but ultimately stays
Now
put.
batting number 30, Brandy Montero.
And again, I made this comment at the end of the last inning, even though Smiley ended up being retired at the bottom of the inning. We now have the top of the order here in the 6th. And again, this could be the Knights' last time to bat, but we'd love to get some insurance runs here. Let's keep an eye on Zell, and first pitch, he's going. Montero offered, and Zell with the steal. Fantastic play by Owen Zell to get into scoring position. Montero did get the strike called on the bunt, but that's the second time that that's happened today. Missed on the bunt and gets the steal. So now infield in. And there goes Zell again. And they just can't stop Zell. There's 2 steals for Zell. He's got 4 in this game, bringing his total to 24 on the season. Zell did not have a steal in the first game. I was just going back to look at that. And that's going to get away, and Zell eyeing the plate. So a sort of a seeing eye single that fell between 3 Williamson Trade infielders and outfielders, and then Zell on 2 consecutive pitches steals 2 consecutive bases, much like how he did to start this game off. And now we got a runner at third with no one out.
And I got to believe if there had been 2 outs that he probably would have taken a chance there on trying to score. But with nobody out, no use trying to get thrown out. And he's going to score now.
A shot to center, and that's going to get down. And that's going to be an easy insurance run there with the RBI from Randy Montero. And the good thing here, Steve, is that with Montero's speed, you got to think he's going to be running.
Yeah, that's already a big run, and as you said, we got him at first with nobody out, so got a good chance to do more damage here. And Kaufman and Boyer coming up. And Kaufman taking a long look down at Coach Stern, going through the signs. Can't believe he'd be bunting here, though.
What a huge insurance run there for the Knights.
And Owen speed is just such a powerful weapon.
24 steals on the season, Steve, including 4 today. And did offer, but pulled it back and did get the ball call. So to your point, they were bunting, or at least showing bunt. Kaufman again is in the middle of a tremendous season for the Knights. And there goes Montero. And they're just overmatched on the base paths, and it looks like that is not good because the catcher just grabbed at his arm, and I can't imagine if he can't throw, he's going to stay in this contest.
Yeah, he had a pitch there that he had no chance on. It was a pitch down in the dirt, and it looked like he might have just kind of hyperextended that elbow or something, grabbing at the elbow.
We'll take a short break, and we'll come back. Knights lead by 2. 2 balls, no strikes, no outs here in looks like the catcher is okay, or at least is going to try. But here's the thing. You have to imagine Montero is running on this pitch.
Yeah, even with nobody out, I agree with you. And Paul, let's give a shout out to athletic trainers. Not an easy job, and far from an 8 to 5 type of job. And Central Penn has those athletic trainers through Select Physical Therapy, and they do a great job, not just here on the field, but they've done a great job with conditioning and really helping our athletes in so many ways.
Jess Horn is one of our MVPs of our athletic department here at Central Penn, and we have seen some pretty brutal injuries, not even just on the baseball field. And that ball's gonna be fair. I am surprised Montero wasn't running in here. I have no idea what Montero was thinking looking back at the left fielder, but the left fielder ended up booting the ball anyway, and Montero ultimately scored.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why he was stopping, because Coach Stern was waving him on. I don't know if he didn't pick up Coach Stern or why he was stopping, but it's a moot point because the left fielder dropped the ball.
Well, again, I'm just so surprised that Montero wasn't moving with the pitch anyway after the injury to the catcher.
Right.
I mean, if they're going to leave him in the game, you got to at least test him to see what he's got.
Right.
Nonetheless, the Knights add on another run. Steve, only one inning the Knights have not scored. That would be back in the third. The Knights put up 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, now 2 in the sixth.
Yeah, and in game 1, they only scored in 2 innings. They scored 3 in 1 inning and 4 in the other inning. So they haven't had the big inning here, but as you said, they've scored in all but 1.
And the big hack by Boyer. Boyer 5 feet away from hitting a home run in this game, but is 2 for 3 in this contest. And last year with Luis Arraez, we were talking about the 400 watch. Could Boyer be on the 500 watch here over the last few games of the season? And that... How is that a foul ball? It hit off the chalk. It literally hit off the chalk. I'm beside myself here. That was a horrific call. And the first base coach is not happy.
It definitely seemed like chalk was flying there. I guess it could have been dirt, but really looked like
dirt with chalk in it.
That's what it was.
460
chalky dirt.
461 Boyer hitting coming into yesterday's game. So remains to be seen. That's a lot of pressure to put on Boyer, and of course he scorches one down the line and gets a base hit taken from him.
Oh,
inside, that hit him.
Kaufman's going to have to go back to second, obviously, as he was going on the pitch. Now it looks like we might get a pitching change here with runners at first and second. Still nobody out in the inning.
McCoy 0 for 3 today in the second game. But as I mentioned, one of the hottest Knights coming in second on the team with 23 RBI and hitting 370 on the season. McCoy only 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles and a home run, but 17 total base hits, 23 driven in. So opportune hitting for McCoy, and has another chance here to add to that total. We're going to take a short break as with the pitching change and lament how Boyer just had a base hit stolen from him. Back here with you at FMB Field, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Knights have extended their 6-5 lead to 8-5 with 2 insurance runs. Boyer hit by the pitch. Kaufman singled after Zell and Montero both singled and scored. McCoy having a rough outing today in this game at 0 for 3. As we look back to the first game, he singled and had back-to-back sacrifice flies. And there's a shot. And this is going to be an easy play for the third baseman as he takes the force out.
Might have had a chance at 2 if he could have fielded it cleanly, but he went down to his knees and the ball scooted out of his glove. So he did the smart thing there and just picked it up and got the out at third, got the lead runner. So still 2 on, but 1 out now.
High and tight. Nick Joseph, 12 RBI on the season. Also 6 steals and a .477 on base with 18 walks. So Joseph has been huge in this game. Not only did score the go-ahead run as he pinch ran for Kevon Davis back in the 5th. And can he drive in a run here? And there's a shot to center. He started coming in and did ultimately catch that ball, but kind of misread there by the center fielder. He started in and then ended up having to go back quite a bit, but makes the catch nonetheless.
Yeah, that was hit harder than he thought initially, but good job of recovering. So 2 out now. Still got that runner out at second base.
Brian Lowen, 2 outs, a 3-run lead. And hey, we'll take another. Off-speed pitch there for Williamson. The pitch gonna be high for 2 balls, no strikes to Lowen. We see Thomas on deck. And then Cam Smiley. And there's a shot right at the shortstop. Relatively easy play to go to second base. That will retire the side, but not before. 2 more runs in for the Knights, 2 more insurance runs. And can Zach Hafner close out this game for the victory? The Knights lead 8-5. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back here with you, hopefully to close.
Now batting number 11, Cody Grande.
Grande comes up to the plate, Steve. It's exactly the position Williamson Trade wants to be in. 3-4-5, Grande, Kelly, Marantino against Hafner. And Hafner starts off with a strike. You got to give all the credit in the world to Hafner here. He basically came in to relieve Colton Zerby, who left with an apparent injury. Again, I don't want to speculate anything. But Hafner had a very similar situation back last time that we called a game where he came out and pitched a lot of bulk relief here. And while he did allow some runs, he really was a steady force. And even back in the 5th when those 2 runs scored, it was just 2 really tough plays that got away from Boyer. But he has pitched very well. And speaking of which, Boyer comes up with a beautiful play and an amazing throw.
Great play by Zach.
What a play by Boyer.
Yeah, and that's big. You know, the insurance runs were big there, too, to be up by 3 now. But you don't want the leadoff hitter to reach base.
Now batting number
Just a
9,
great
Will
job,
Williams.
like laying out, going to his left there, and then making a strong throw.
Steve, do you think he heard me over here talking about him, and that's why he
Probably.
made that play?
Probably so.
No, of course. Zach knows I have nothing but utmost respect for him, and we both said that both of those plays were really, really difficult plays.
Yeah.
So we certainly don't hold it against him. And a beautiful play there to start off the 7th. Slider misses high for Hafner. And even with I'll tell you what, Steve, even with that hour almost delay, just after 6 o'clock, gosh, if we would have started it at 1, we'd have made it home in time for dinner.
We would have had to battle the 5 o'clock traffic.
Just inside. Hafner doesn't agree with that.
And, you know, you talked about the fact that Hafner's given up some runs, but he's done a good job here. And, you know, he has held them scoreless for 2 of the last 3 innings. So he's really battled here.
This is the kind of guy you need that can eat up some innings coming out of the bullpen. Oh,
Ow.
got him in the back of the leg, and he is not happy and almost hit the umpire inadvertently with the bat. Kelly.
They're not happy, but you know that Zach's not trying to hit him there when you're in the last inning and you're up by 3.
Number 40 now entered the ball game. Do not have information on him. Again, apologies to Williamson Trade. There's very limited information on their website. And of course, because they were here late, we couldn't confirm some of the players on the team. So that is great apologies from us at the Nightly News. We strive to give you the most comprehensive game coverage that we possibly can.
And good idea there by trying to bunt for a base hit and get 2 on and bring the tying run to the plate, but couldn't quite reach that one, fouled it off.
Big swing and a miss, and Hafner strikes him out for
Nothing but heat there.
2 down. So one thing I do want to talk about very quickly, please be sure to tune into our final broadcast of the season. I can't believe I'm saying that. This Friday night at about 3:45, we're going to start for Senior Day here on Community Night. Also, save the date for this Sunday if you're available for Knights baseball. They're going to play a doubleheader at noon at East Pennsboro High School. That game, unfortunately, will not be broadcast. It's a makeup game, and so we will not be there on Sunday, but of course we will be here on Friday and hope to cheer the Knights on in their quest for not only the ESAC championship, but for a berth into the Small College World Series. So we shall see.
And at the beginning of the day, Paul, we talked about the importance of these games and the upcoming games here to finish really strong and have a chance to get into that ESAC championship game. And Central Penn has shown well today.
Well, and I got to be honest, it looks like at this point, if the season were to end today, Williamson Trade, big strike number 2, Williamson Trade would be the team that we would face in the ESAC championship game. Steve, what do you think that these 2 victories, potential victories, are going to do to the momentum for the Knights? Great catch there and right by Kaufman.
Good play by Kaufman to end this game. And yeah, it has to boost their confidence. Obviously, if you do end up playing Williamson Trade, you know that you just swept a doubleheader from them. These were good games, 7-3 and 8-5. They were close games both ways. And Central Penn played well today. They pitched well. They had timely hitting. They stole a bunch of bases, which was good. So I think it was a great showing by the Knights today.
And what I'd also say is, in all of this, without one of their better pitchers, Wyatt Kozer, who had just pitched and lost Colton Zerby. Hopefully Zerby okay. in their quest for the ESAC championship. Steve, I have to thank you so much for being a part of the game today. This honestly was one of the best outings that we've had, and again, it's almost very sad that we only have one more doubleheader to call, but of course, we will be here with you Friday night at around 3:45. We hope to get the senior day celebration. We got a lot of seniors on this team, including Mr. Hafner, that we talked so much about today. And again, what an amazing pair of games. The Knights sweep the doubleheader, and they would go to 14-11 on the season. So fantastic effort from the Knights. We are going to try to reach out to the Nightly News Player of the Game, David Thomas. Thomas with the big home run and 3 RBI in the 2-for-3 day. Right now, the team is meeting on the field with Coach Stern, but we hope to get Mr. Thomas down on the field here in just a minute. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back momentarily with the Nightly News Player of the Game.
Down here with David Thomas today, player of the game. How does it feel to go 2-0 against Williamson Trade today?
I felt really good because last time we lost when we really shouldn't have. We got the first game, felt the momentum going into game 2, took the series from them. Now we have the season series on too. Feels really good.
There you go. And then you're 2 for 3 on the day, 3 RBIs in a game that was pretty much inning to inning. How does that feel?
Feels really good. I'm just glad the team could also put up runs too. They're all sharp too, putting up hits. It was a team effort.
And then the last thing we have to talk about, is that your first collegiate home run today?
My first collegiate home run, yes.
How'd that feel today?
Oh, it felt great.
To end the ending of the season, kind of? Yeah. Close enough.
No,
but
we're going to hit more.
I think you got it. You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for us today. I want to especially thank my co-host, my color commentator, Steve Hassinger. Steve, thank you so much for being here with us. What a day for the Knights, sweeping the doubleheader on their way to potentially the ESAC championship game. But we got 2 more big games here this Friday night for community night against Christendom. So we'll see you then. Steve, any final thoughts?
No, it was a fun day, Paul. Central Penn did a great job today with this doubleheader win, and hopefully this propels them into finishing the season strong, and hopefully propels them into an ESAC championship, maybe the Small College World Series. That would be great to see.
Fantastic. Well, Steve, again, thank you, and thank you to our sideline reporter, Abbee Breski, and thank you to all of you out there, because if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't happen. So thank you, and we look forward to being back here Friday afternoon with you from FMB Field. All right, the Knights sweep a doubleheader, 7-3 and 8-5, behind some strong pitching, strong hitting, and strong fielding. We'll see you again Friday night. For Steve Hassinger, this is Paul Miller. Until then.